Drafting the Magic features the thoughts and opinions expressed by Christian Ilton, Erik Pesolano, and today's guest, and do not in any way reflect the views or opinions of the Walt Disney Company or any of its subsidiaries.
Oh, Eric, it has been over a month for some reason, but we are back to drafting the Magic. I missed you. I missed drafting the Magic, but gosh, the schedule's been so busy these past couple of months.
Time
last
is
month.
time is but a construct, my friend.
You're officially
Feels
a year
like
older.
just yesterday.
You're
Oh
officially a
God.
year older. I'm officially a year older since
Oh
the
God.
last time we recorded an episode. So this will be our post-birthday episode, and here we go, back to drafting the Magic.
One step closer to get my name on the ballot in November. Just a few more years.
Oh boy, it's coming.
Yeah, buddy.
It's coming. Also, speaking of name on the ballots, this has absolutely nothing to do with that. But dude, people are listening to our show. If you didn't know, folks, you're listening to an up and coming Disney podcast. So keep listening, keep subscribing, because I mean, we were like, oh look, we had like 6,000 views. Now we're like 9,000, and we are coming for some cinco digits.
Now, it's a humbling number for sure. We have a very small operation around here. So thank you to everybody who's been tuning in, like Christian said, subscribing, downloading, liking, reviewing, rating. Please keep that up, and you can do it on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and all those other good platforms. Let us know how we're doing. Hey, if you have any suggestions, let us know. Hit us up on the social medias. We love a good audience suggestion, and we will take it into account.
And Erik, season 2 coming to a close pretty soon. Season 3, things are going to be a little different. So we'll just tease that, but things will be a little different when it comes to season 3.
Unfortunately, people are going to be able to see our faces.
Okay, well, we're not going to tease it. We're just going to tell them, yep, you're going to be able to see us, everybody. It's going to be great. I'm sorry in advance.
But I mean, they don't know in what format yet, though. So
That's true. Regardless, we still have to finish season 2, and today it's going to be a good one because we're going to a park that you and I both love, Disneyland Park. We're talking about the OG theming, not anything related to IP, which, if I counted, is like 6 things. It feels like. So this is going to be a weird draft, but how about we give it to the Imagineers who use some imagination without a giant. Listen, I like the Imagineers now. There are cool things that you're getting out of the IP rights, but let's give it to the guys who had to think about things when there wasn't IP to use.
Yeah, or at least, there wasn't any legal way to use it. I always wonder, like, what would have happened back then if it was a lot easier to figure out how to use things. But yeah, the original attractions, no IP tied to them. That's what we're talking about today, and that's really the heart of the park. Disneyland specifically. I know the direction we're going in is not that way anymore, and I understand it completely. IP makes the world go round. So, but you're right. The creativeness that the Imagineers had when they were first designing all of these attractions is really the basis for why this place exists. So let's honor them today while we pick our favorite original attractions at Disneyland Park.
Well, Erik, today we are so excited to welcome Kelly Washington. She is an actress that you've seen maybe on a show called, I don't know, Parks and Rec, maybe Jurassic World, maybe Slice of Disney, the podcast, whatever it might be. Kelly, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you.
We're so glad to have you. Erik, when we were talking about this in advance, I told you she seems like a very Disney person. She's got it all over her Instagram. And Kelly's even nodding in a great, like, come on, let's do this. And I think she was a perfect person for the show. Before we even knew her resume, Erik, she seemed to be a good fit for the show.
Yeah, and we're so glad to have her here. When we get all the folks who are really enthusiastic about Disney, that's when I get worried I'm going to make myself look stupid. So this will be fun. Kelly's like, yeah.
Yeah, I am excited. I don't know what I'm getting into. I want to start with, I have my own Disney podcast where I get into Disney history. So you have found a Disney nerd.
Here we go.
This is my Disney room. So
yes. Well, we all have
I'm in trouble.
Yeah, you are, which is great. But today, Kelly, we are talking about something that we really don't see much of in the Disney parks, at least new now, and it's that old original content. No IP. We're talking about the attractions in Disneyland that don't have, oh, I don't know, a superhero connected to them, a very, very famous mouse connected to them, any of that. This is that original imagination of the Disney parks. And this, we were looking at the list, Kelly. This is kind of a tough one.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, now I do have a question for you before we get into it. Are you allowed to do things that now have IP but might not have started with IP?
That's an Eric question, but I'm going to say, gosh, I hope so.
Yes, yes, I'm glad you brought that up because I was just about to mention that if the ride originally did not have IP and now it does have IP, it is eligible to be selected today. Because just because they decided to ruin it doesn't mean we can't select it from its original concept.
He said
So
to
yes.
ruin it, to ruin it. Wow.
Is that what I said? Oh, I was
You
clearing
did
my
say
throat. I'm
that.
sorry.
I think the real question will be 10 years from now, is there anything in a Disney park that is not associated with IP? Because I think there are still a few, but it's gonna start dwindling. I mean, whether Dwayne the Rock Johnson is an actor on yet another one or whatever it might be. There's one attraction in particular which I'm sure will come up, that I'm very, very curious to see if they made a movie out of. But regardless,
It's probably Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln starring
listen,
The Rock, right?
listen, is Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln IP? I don't know. I don't know. I can't imagine there's IP.
I don't think
I
the
don't
presidents
think.
are intellectual property. Nobody thought them up. They actually existed.
Well, anyway. All right. Well, let's get down to this, Eric. As usual, we have our rules. Number one, we have to have experienced it. Not an issue here on the Disneyland Resort side for us. But number two, and this narrows this sucker down quite a bit. We can't go to a land more than once. Each of us can't go to a land more than once. What the heck?
Yeah, you're
That's
welcome.
Oh my God, that's gonna be so hard.
It's gonna be rough. It's gonna be rough, but here we go. That's okay. This is better than the one draft where we were like, oh, the land can only be touched once, and I don't know if we'd be able to pull that off in this one. But luckily, like if I go to Frontierland, Eric could also go to Frontierland. It's not just, oh, Frontierland's off the board. But there are some lands that maybe only have one thing, so you got to kind of have to keep an eye on that. But this is Drafting the Magic, episode 38, final, or is it 39? I don't even know. I don't know where I am.
I don't know.
Regardless, whichever episode it is original Disney parks attractions at the Disneyland Resort. Original thoughts, original. I don't even know what the name of this is, but that's what this is, and I am so excited that I get the first pick because I get to go on one of my favorite attractions of all time. Eric probably already has it written down. And yes, it does have a bunch of IP connected to it now, but originally Pirates of the Caribbean did not, and now Pirates of the Caribbean finds its way to the top of my list. There's nothing like Pirates of the Caribbean. Even as a kid, it's one of your first attractions that you go on that you're terrified of because of the drop. And then your mom or dad convinces you, no, I took you on this as a baby. You were fine. And then you go, okay, well, that's what the years of therapy are for. Thanks. But regardless, I love Pirates of the Caribbean. I love the IP that has come from it with Captain Jack Sparrow and so much more. But Eric, I'm taking Pirates in round one.
You're right. I had it written down for you
Exactly.
already. I knew you would do that. Now this is where the strategy kicks in, right? I don't have to touch New Orleans Square until
You do
the end.
not. Yeah.
I could just leave that be. No, good pick. I figured it would go one or two. It has to, last attraction, Walt touched. So when you talk about original, it doesn't get much more original than that.
It's pretty old. It's not the oldest thing in the park, but it's pretty old. Kelly, what do you think of Pirates of the Caribbean?
I love pirates. I feel that I cannot give you too much right now because I don't want to sway Eric's decision in New Orleans Square. So I'm gonna have to save my thought But I do I love when we get into what's the oldest stuff in the park. That's one of my favorite nerdy facts. So it's close by to Pirates.
Yep. I know what she's thinking. Regardless, that's my draft pick for round 1, and I don't care if it's your least favorite attraction in the world. It's my favorite.
Absolutely not. It is a top. It is a top. It is a top attraction. I love it. Whether I love it, I'm in the mood because I'm ready to sing the songs. I'm ready to look for those hidden Mickeys. I love to look at the hair on the leg dangling down under the bridge, or I need a nap. All of the reasons are valid.
Ready to randomly get drenched in the third row for no freaking reason compared to everyone else in the boat. So dumb.
I remember, this is my personal story about Pirates. When I was a kid, I was like, I don't know, 12, 13 or something like that. And we went to the park and we had written down because cell phones were not a big thing when I was 12 years old. Written down the lyrics for Pirates Life. And we were going to sing it while we were in there and couldn't see the paper. Too dark.
Oh.
Couldn't. We were sitting in there right here with it. I know this is an audio medium, but my hand is very close to my face. That's what we did with the paper, and we couldn't read it. And we were like, okay, maybe we the next time.
Jeez. But I think a good pick here in round 1. Eric, where do you go in round 1? You don't have to go to New Orleans Square. You can.
Well, I'm not gonna because you already took New Orleans and you can't touch it again. So I can wait.
So you can go just about anywhere. Let's see where you go.
Yeah, I'm gonna go next door. Actually, I'm gonna take now. This is an attraction that's gonna help me round out my list. I think you know how I like to draft a lot of the time, Christian. So this isn't really a shock to you. I like to have a mix of attractions. I don't like to just go historical or just go e-ticket. Although I am gonna go e-ticket here, but I like to have a nice round list where it's a bunch of different experiences. So I'm going to start crazy with the wildest ride in the wilderness. So I'm going to take Big Thunder Mountain Railroad at number 1 to knock my Frontierland selection off the list because I think it's the best attraction in that land, and I wanted to make sure I grabbed it before you could touch it. So there's a little bit of strategy involved there as well. Give me Thunder for my first pick.
Wow. All right, just go after my favorite attraction in the park. That's fine. Whatever. Kelly, what do you think of Big Thunder?
Gosh, I love Big Thunder. And I can speak on this land a little more since the attraction I cannot speak of is not in it. So Big Thunder I love because it's fun, it's classic. It has more history and lore than almost any attraction at Disney, which is crazy. There's all this stuff about the queue that they didn't have to go that hard, but they did. And so as a Disney nerd and history buff, I love that. I love the ground that it used to be on. I love like talking about all of that. And yeah, it's just fun. And if you ever get the opportunity to ride it while the fireworks are going off, that's when the Disney magic comes in.
My apparently this is the personal story hour for me, but my favorite memory on Thunder is I was on it, riding it during the very first 24-hour day. So, which happened to be Leap Day back in 2000. I don't remember what year that was. I don't know, 12, 11, something like that. And, and you come over that bunny hill right out of the tunnel where you can see like almost the entire park. It was like 5:30 in the morning and the sun was starting to come up right magic. As we got up over that bunny. Yeah, that was the coolest memory I have of that one.
Yeah. Take my favorite roller coaster and just take it. I'm going to say something that I never really said on this, but you've said it as many times as you can, I think, because I always do it. I feel like you could have waited on this one. But we'll have to see how this shapes out. Because I don't know if I was going Big Thunder. And I thought you were going to go when you said next door. I thought you were going to Adventureland. And so I'm going to go to Adventureland and I'm going to hop on the Jungle Cruise because the Jungle Cruise is one of the OGs, right? It was there on opening day. I just saw this weird review of it. And I don't know how much sarcasm was in it, but they were like, we expected all the animals to be real. This is the dumbest animal kingdom I've ever heard of. I was like, yeah, that's not it, my guy. But But I love Jungle Cruise. The jokes are the dumbest jokes in the world, but you love them anyway. As many times as you hear them, you love them. And every once in a while, they sprinkle in a new one that you've maybe not heard, or maybe they're not supposed to tell. Regardless, I love the Jungle Cruise, and so I'm gonna take it. I thought you would have gone way more history here, but you didn't. So I'm gonna take the Jungle Cruise here in round two, Eric.
Yeah, no, that's good for you, but that's not my Adventureland pick, so you can have it.
Wow, interesting,
Mhm.
interesting. You're gonna take that dumb tree. Cool. No, I'm kidding. We'll see. We'll see what you take in the future.
I
But
can't
also,
touch I can't touch the tree.
because you haven't been on it. You haven't been on it
No,
recently.
because it's
No.
IP.
It's got a lot of
Oh,
IP
that's
in it.
right.
Yeah.
It's IP. Well, it's dumb anyway. Anyway, Kelly, what do you think of the Jungle Cruise?
I love the Jungle Cruise. It was the first episode we did of Slice of Disney because of the history. And you know what? Walt also wanted it to be real animals, so maybe that review isn't crazy. One of the things we like to do is Yelp on Disney, and so we read 2-star reviews. And of the Jungle Cruise, those are some of my favorites. Yeah, it's always fun. I love that I usually go get a pineapple juice, and then I get on the ride and I just get to laugh, and it never disappoints.
Never once has it disappointed, even though you know the joke is coming. Like, it's so good. I love it so much. But Eric, apparently you don't love it as much as something else in Adventureland, so we'll have to wait for that in a bit.
Mhm.
There's only like one other option, so I think I know what it is, but we'll let you wait on it anyway. And see where you're gonna go here. There's a number of other lands you can go to. So we'll
Right.
see.
Yeah, so I may not even have to go to Adventureland. You
That's
never
true.
know. So many more options. My second pick, this is where my history will kick in, that you just mentioned, my friend. So I grabbed Thunder because I thought it was a hot commodity and I wanted to get it off the board. Plus, I know you love it. But now I can go with my historical pick, and I'm going to technically Main Street USA selection, and I'm taking the Disneyland Railroad at number 2.
Oh, that's so
Ooh.
good.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you get to touch a little bit of the entire park around the perimeter. They've got their own scenes, right? And I mean, Walt and trains. And I don't think I need to bring that up, but give me the railroad at number 2.
That's a good one. I always forget that the railroad exists whenever we do this show, and like every time Eric takes it, I'm just like, son of a gun. I didn't think about that, but the Walt Disney or the Disneyland Railroad, a very, very good pick, Eric. Kelly, what do you think of hopping on the old train and taking a round tour of Walt Disney's Magic Kingdom?
I love the train. And also, one of my favorite topics in the world is how much Walt loved trains. And I talk about it a lot. When I get eventually sued but for calling it Slice of Disney, I 100% am changing it to Walt loved trains. I say this very openly. So, yeah, everything is based on a train. Everything's based on a vehicle. Like Doom buggies, just big old train of buggies. Uh, so
Of
I think
buggies.
of buggies, and it has the classic, uh, dinosaurs. You get some primeval world in there, and
Mhm.
yeah, it is great transportation. It gets you back to the back of the park much more efficiently than fighting your way through crowds.
Now
Yes.
that people actually, do stuff in Toontown, it's kind of nice,
True.
especially near the end of the night where it's like, oh, all right, I'll just jump on this and ride all the way back around to Main
Mhm.
Street. Yeah.
Oh,
It serves multiple purposes.
love the train. Love the train. Still remember the first heart attack I had when I went on it after they redid it, and the lightning strike just nailed like right in front of where I was sitting, and I was not prepared for it. That little effect that they've added in the can. Hated
Oh,
it so
yeah.
much. No,
Oh,
no, it didn't actually get struck by
I got
lightning.
I was like,
You're like, you never told me this. Yes, that's an upcoming episode of Drafting the Magic of the days I almost lost my life at the Disneyland Resort. By the way,
top fives.
guarantee you we could do an episode about it, but we'll leave that there.
Top fives.
Oh my goodness. Okay, but the railroad, a good pick. I didn't think you were going Main Street. Yes, Walt did love trains. Kelly's right, but do you know how much he loved presidents? We might talk about it anyway. But we're not jumping on that ship yet because I can wait on it if I want to. I am going to go against all judgment, against all logic
That's always
for my round
helped you.
3 pick.
Well, that's a good idea.
Yeah, I know. And I'm not going to go because Kelly seems like a Disney history person. And so I'm going to skip the history and go straight for the thrill when I go to Fantasyland. And I'm getting on the Matterhorn because the Matterhorn bobsleds, I mean, yeah, it is a mountain, but it's not IP. And it is an amazing attraction. I think the upgrades, it's on her shirt. Darn right it is. There's a bunch of other things on her shirt, so I'm sure we'll touch on those in a bit. But I love the Matterhorn. I could have gone historic with Fantasyland, but I wanted to go high thrill. And I like the Matterhorn. I think the changes they've made to the Matterhorn are very good. If I ever need a back adjustment from when I went on Mickey and Minnie's, I go on Matterhorn, and it just sets it right back into place. So gotta love it. And it is in Fantasyland, even though it's a real mountain. But then there's a Yeti. I don't know. Eric, I'm taking Matterhorn. It's one of yours. It's one of your babies that you worked on, and it was one of Walt's favorites back in the day. I'm taking Matterhorn. Away from you, I don't think you would have taken it, but I'm going to take it anyway.
Well, you want to talk about top 5 times I thought I'd lose my life. That's the most stressful thing I've ever done in my life is operate that thing. But yeah. No, love the Matterhorn. Like you said, I've got an emotional attachment to it. I know that everybody makes fun of it for how rough it is nowadays, but they didn't really think about that in 1959. So they just thought this was really cool.
I think as a Disney history person, I would choose it because even if the pain is part of the fun, like you know what you're getting into and you're kind of like bracing yourself and it's exciting. It never loses its excitement. The history of like from building it to, them having the people on it to it being, the first roller coaster of its type. Like there's so much there.
And even the upgrades, like when they said we're going to do some upgrades, and everyone's like, "Oh God, what are you going to put in there?" And they just upgraded what they already had, and they left.
I love that.
Yeah, all the effects and the new animatronics they put in, they're great, and those, we affectionately call them Harold, but the new ones scared everybody half to death when they
I've gone on it 100 times since they've redone it. I still don't love Harold now. It still scares the crap out of me.
It's because he actually, moves a little bit more than he used to. He's not
he lunges. He lunges.
Edge. Yeah. All right, let's go to the I guess the bottom of round 3, as we call it. We've reached the bottom of the third. I got a couple places I can go here, but there's a few lands I don't have to touch yet, so I'm going to wait. So I'm going to go to the one land. I think it's the only land we haven't touched yet.
The only land that has a qualifying pick in it that we haven't touched.
Yes.
We have to clarify because there's plenty of other lands that
right. We can't touch Galaxy's Edge for obvious reasons. And
wait, why?
Why is that? And we can't touch Toontown, so that
can't touch Critter Country.
Can't touch Critter Country either. So that leaves the last eligible land that we haven't selected from. So I want to make sure I get this off the board and get my other thrill ride out of the way to kind of round out my list here. So I'll go ahead and take Space Mountain at number 3. I think it's the first real roller coaster I ever went on as a kid, and really kind of got me into roller coasters. Because I do remember the first time I ever went in that queue and got down near the load station, I was like, nope. And I was like 7, 8 years old, something like that. And I walked right out of there. And now I love it. And I know it needs some care, and it got some upgrades a couple of years ago, but still thrill value. Give me that Space Mountain all day.
Oh, love Space Mountain. I was genuinely like teetering with Space and Matterhorn. I was like, do I go to Tomorrowland? I'm gonna go Fantasyland. There is some more history with that, but Space is so good. Kelly, what do you think of Space Mountain?
I mean, I was waiting. I thought it might go second. After you took Pirates is such a classic. I figured someone was going to go space, because if you asked people who only get to go to Disney once, what would they ride? Everyone always says Space Mountain.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's a great ride no matter what. I am curious, this does not affect my decision. Would you choose Disney World or Disneyland's Space Mountain?
You're about to
here
start,
we go.
You're about to start a whole nother episode between him
Oh.
and I, because we
Okay.
vehemently disagree.
I love that.
So here's the thing. I understand that Disneyland's has the better theming, has the better effects, has the better all of that. But for a roller coaster, for a thrill roller coaster, Florida's is better. You have more drops. It goes faster. I like it. I like the roller coaster itself more in Florida.
And now we can talk about why
Eric's
Space Mountain and Disneyland is better.
rolling his eyes.
Because we already have the Matterhorn. That's why.
Yeah,
it's the exact same thing.
I mean, kind of.
They're both bobsleds. It's a dual track. They both do the same thing.
See, that's why I took Matterhorn.
There you go. My brother would very much so agree with you, Christian. He is a big lover of the Disney World version.
I think it's great. I will certainly agree with all of its downfalls. I mean, the music on the attraction is so good in California. But
if they could just have Ghost Galaxy all the time, I'd be happy. But
I missed that.
You bringing back some war memories for me. I worked outside of that building at Innoventions for a year and so, and you could hear that thing screeching from downtown Anaheim. And for those of you who have never been to Anaheim, Disneyland is not in downtown Anaheim.
No, it is not. It's not even close.
It is loud. Oh boy, I'm one who doesn't miss that. Regardless, Space, a good pick, Eric. I love Space Mountain.
I don't know that I'm stunned I was able to take it this late, because I know it's not usually high on Christian's list, so I could wait on it a little bit. But Kelly, I would tend to agree. I think in most other scenarios it would go a little earlier, but
yeah,
this kind of worked out for me, so I'm good.
Yeah, you're fine. Whatever. So that now I don't have anywhere that we haven't touched, so I'm gonna have to go somewhere that Eric has taken the most likely number one, in that it depends on someone's eyes, right? Somebody might like Autopia more than Space Mountain, or something like that. Okay, Kelly. I know no one does. I know one.
Everybody who loves polluting the air quality even more than it already is. You're right.
Isn't it
like Autopia.
Isn't it great when you go to Autopia at Disneyland and you smell like you're at a Chevron gas station? It's great. Oh boy.
Or lawnmower
that was very funny.
Or a lawnmower. Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's
our lawnmower engines of the future.
Listen, I'm not saying that I've been watching our dear friend Mark Bricky from episode 27's videos about all of the Disneyland Forward stuff going on, but I'm going to just say I'm so happy that in all of the things he's guessing, Autopia and Nemo aren't there anymore. And we love that. Because while for history reasons, Kelly probably loves the theory of those things. For any type of fun, they got to go. So I'm not going to go to Autopia, at least not in this round. I have two more picks, and the options are limited.
You're not taking Autopia. Just move on to the next one.
I don't know. We'll have to see. I am going to go. I'm going to go back to Frontierland. Put me on the Rivers of America. Put me on the Mark Twain. I like the Mark Twain more than the Columbia. I think on the show I've told you otherwise, but I've thought about it a lot. And there's, I mean, the whole Americana of the Mark Twain, and it even says Disneyland USA on it, and just, I mean, the history that you can get when you walk on that boat. I don't know if I'm gonna tell you, I haven't been on a boat in a hot minute, but I remember there used to be the video of Walt opening Disneyland in one of the rooms on a little TV in there, and just getting to cruise the rivers of America, try to find some remnants of a burnt down dragon, a bunch of things. I'm going to Frontierland, and I'm hopping on the Mark Twain.
I like it. I like the selection. I mean, I figured Frontierland's two picks were going to be Thunder and the Mark Twain.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised at all, and I knew one of us would be able to hold on till late to get it. And your opinions are allowed to change, Christian. Don't sell yourself short.
I know. I'm just questioning whether I liked Columbia more or not in the past, or if I just lied to create fodder on this podcast. I don't know. Kelly, what do you think of the Mark Twain?
It's similar to the train. You get to relax. You can sip on a soda, eat some popcorn or whatever. And it's just relaxing. It's really nice. It does have some of my favorite Disney history involved. Some of it is not PG, so I cannot share it. But I do have some really, really fun Walt stories that I love about it. But yeah, it's classic. And you see the idea the original Imagineers had when you are on it or when you're looking at it. It feels nostalgic. It feels like everything they wanted Disneyland to be. So it's, as the Disney history nerd, I love it. I think it wouldn't be Disney. It would not be Disneyland without it.
And it hasn't been true. It hasn't been for a while, with it getting basically a complete makeover, and new things. And I will say, one of my favorite things about it, remember when the Rivers of America was down, because they were, at times they were draining the darn thing or whatever they were working on, or when they were expanding for Galaxy's Edge in the back and they had to kind of change the way the river was. You could leave the Mark Twain open and you can just chill and walk on the boat and enjoy the history of it, even if it's not operating. So I think that is a cool plus. And we talked about it back when I taught traditions at the Disneyland Resort. We talked about efficiency, and talk about efficiency is being able to keep an attraction open even when it doesn't work. It's an efficient attraction if you can keep it open. So,
it's like an escalator. It's never broken. You can always use it.
You can always use it. I like it. But that is my fourth round pick, Eric. And now we go to your fourth round pick. You are going to have to choose somewhere that I've already gone to, and I have a couple of guesses as where you might be going.
Yeah, I think I have my last two picks all ready to go, and there's nothing you can do about it. So
you're right.
Great.
You can't. So.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Let me go with. It's just a matter of which one I want to take first. I will go with another quintessential attraction in the resort. Something that wasn't an attraction in the park originally, but was moved and shipped all the way across the country to be in the park. So I'm gonna take Small World at number 4, and give me my small little boat ride. Another attraction I had the fortune of working at for a short period of time. And I know it can sometimes be one of the more polarizing attractions at the resort when we talk about, oh, that song on the loop, la 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 la. But it is iconic. Everybody knows it. And you really haven't experienced it until the sound goes out and you have to go through there and listen to all those dolls clicking. But anyway, I'll take Small World at number 4.
I'd just like to say there's IP littered everywhere in that attraction. So...
Yeah, but there wasn't originally, so it counts.
I know.
Because Pirates has Johnny Depp.
True.
So I think if you can have that, I think he can have Small
Never
World.
mind, I take it back.
It's the same thing, pal. Yep.
Yeah, but I mean, so many regardless. Anyway, it's a Small World. I knew if I took Matterhorn, you were getting It's a Small World, and vice versa. That's what I was looking at Fantasyland the whole time.
If I may say something about the whole IP being woven into both Pirates and Small World, though, while we're on that topic, they did it so seamlessly that it did not really affect the original, vibe of the attraction or the story, really. I mean, I know the story kind of changed the Pirates, but you don't really notice it, right?
Yeah.
And I think Disney Plus, the Imagineering story, did a great job of detailing the chaos that was ensuing when they announced that It's a Small World was going to have Disney characters, and everyone was ready to burn down the gates. And I love how, like, in that documentary, they're like, yeah, people on it went on and were like, oh yeah, that's cool.
Oh, all right. Yeah.
I love It's a Small World. Kelly, what do you think?
Gosh, this attraction is one of my favorites to talk about. Probably I enjoy talking about it more than I enjoy writing it. I do think the song on loop, the fact their hair grows, we could get into a lot of the scariness there, but there's so much heart. And it was, there's so much purity that it was created in. I know that with the times changing, people have different opinions, but the Imagineers that worked on it and the way they hustled to make it happen, I love it. And I love the history of it. So I applaud that choice.
And I mean, around the holiday time when it converts to Small World Holiday, I mean,
Oh my gosh.
You never seen so much of a crowd around an attraction or an overlay. I mean,
Oh
I
yeah.
know Haunted Mansion Holiday gets all the love and gets all the accolades in the press when it happens, and everyone's like, "Oh, I gotta go see the gingerbread house." And then, but the people who aren't on social media are the ones who are flooding Small World Holiday
Mm-hmm.
because that place is just jammed every winter time. So
I didn't get to do it this year. I was bummed because the
Mm-hmm.
crowds did not let up. And I was like, all right,
mhm.
next time.
Yep.
I
Oh,
haven't been on Small World Holiday in years.
I
Yeah,
I
because
haven't.
I
it's
went on
so
it this year.
crowded. You
I
Did
went on
did?
it
you?
this. I went. Well, I have a again. I have an almost 2 year old now, and It's a Small World is his favorite attraction.
Aw.
So when it was Christmas, yeah, we were going on that. But I will say I still love the old history of how they brought the water from around the world and dumped it in at the first
Mhm.
day. Now I don't think they do that every time they drain it. I assume it's just Anaheim's finest. But
Got a
regardless,
pipeline straight from downtown.
exactly, yeah.
There's one pipe.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Boy. Regardless, uh it's Small World made some awesome news recently with somebody running around on it and everything. So, oh boy, I love it. It's a Small World, a good pick here in round 4. Oh my gosh, we're already at round 5.
Dun 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 dun.
Da, 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 da. You are correct. That's exactly what was going through my mind when I was like, okay, I have a couple of options here. So here we are, round 5. Do I go to Autopia? No, I'm not going to Autopia. As much as
Oh
I
wow, that was shocking.
listen, I actually enjoy Autopia, despite the fact that I do risk getting lung cancer every time I go on it. And the fact that the people who work that attraction don't get hazard pay, or at least didn't at one point. God bless those people, because
Oh my gosh.
they're gonna need every blessing they can get at some point in their life. Regardless, I am gonna go on to Main Street. And yeah, I'm gonna go to, oh boy, do I take a double decker bus? I can get on that anywhere, especially in Hollywood. Go see all the celebrities. Do I take a little fire truck? No, even though I think it's awesome. I am going to go and check out one of, if not the greatest presidents that the United States has ever had, and Walt's favorite. I'm going over to Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln. The history in that building, and whether it's every once in a while I hate how Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln and really the Opera House has just become the showroom of, oh, look at all this cool stuff that has nothing to do with Lincoln. I hate that. But once you really step into it and you get into a different world, and gosh, the first time you saw that animatronic, I wish I could be an adult the first time I saw the animatronic, because I would love to truly be able to appreciate it and not being raised and seeing it as a kid and just thinking, oh, it's another robot at Disneyland. Erik, you recently went on Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln for the first time, right? Like in this podcast's life, you went to it for the first time. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. First off,
It's
but
been like 3 or 4 years
I know.
now. But
Listen, we
yeah.
we started this podcast thinking we'd have a lot more episodes by now, 4 years ago.
Yeah.
But here we are. But yeah, you went to that very recently. So what was that like seeing that animatronic? I mean, you've seen videos of it, so I
The
don't know how.
funny part is I had been in that theater several times,
Yep.
but never actually saw the show.
Yep.
Um, but then I did, and I was like, oh, okay, I get it.
Yeah, I get it. Oh my gosh, you kill me. Kelly, what do you think? Because Erik gets it, but what do you think of Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln?
We're getting into the history again. I think that's what a lot of this episode has to bring because we are talking about the stuff that came before the IP. Um, I think that like pirates, there's a lot of air conditioning, and that has its advantage to everyone, no matter who you are, no matter what you're doing. I did get yelled at once because you are not allowed to bring tea in. I was like freezing, and we went in and got in a lot of trouble. I was like, it's nobody stopped me on the way in. I'm already sitting,
Out of
but
here.
but it's such an amazing achievement. And no matter what, you like kind of leave feeling inspired. You get to listen to one of our greatest presidents and Walt's obsession. He would dress up like Lincoln and say his speeches at school and somehow didn't seem to get bullied, which is amazing. That's an achievement in itself. But no, it's great. It's a classic. You can't, we walk past it so often and we shouldn't.
You're darn right. And then they dump you into a store that sells you ears for $400.
I know. And I buy all of them.
Yep.
Capitalism. I will say the first time I saw the show and watched, Lincoln stand up and do all that. I mean, it's still just as whoa as I'm sure it was. But couldn't even imagine what it was like back in the 50s when people saw that for the first time. Nowadays, it takes us aback. I mean, obviously, we've seen more impressive animatronics since then, but man, imagine being there back then and seeing him stand up and then being like,
"What the heck?"
So yeah,
that's not him, right?
Yeah, it's amazing, and I feel like they take care of it more than some of the others. Like Ariel, right now, like she needs a lot of love. They really, she's like
Ariel
melting.
looks like she's been through some stuff, man. She looks like she needs to talk to somebody on a couch for a while and express her feelings and tell everything that's gone wrong in Disney California Adventure. It's not a good look. It doesn't look good at all. But you're right. I think Lincoln, although I will say, and I too, Eric, got to go in that theater for many reasons, not of which were the Abraham Lincoln Show. I got to watch a Thor movie in that theater. I got to watch a Star Wars movie in that theater. Oh yeah, we had some cool. Listen, y'all, I'm not telling you to be a cast member, but you might get some cool things in the future. You never know. Actually, they probably won't do it anymore, but that's not important. But I will say I've seen that animatronic in its resting state, because every animatronic has a resting state. It can't just keep moving all the time. For anyone who's never seen an animatronic before, it's terrifying to see that thing in its resting state. And I think whoever designed the current animatronic had some fun with it, because it's pretty disturbing. I'm just gonna leave it there. I don't know how they got away with it. Regardless, great moments with Mr. Lincoln, my 5th round pick, and that leads us to Eric's 5th round pick and the final pick in our draft. You could go a couple of different ways here, but you're not going to. We all know where you're going, so just tell the people, Eric.
Yeah, Tiki Room. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. What if I did that? Wouldn't that be hilarious?
That'd be shock the world.
Let's see. I feel like you're pointing something out to me that I'm missing now.
Oh, am I?
I'm looking at my list and I don't see anything on here that stands out, to be honest with you.
Oh, okay.
I know you're all both looking at me like, oh my God, what are you doing?
He's creating suspense. That's what he's doing.
Guy, I wish I was. I'm looking at the list that I created here. There's nothing on here that jumps out at me, so I have no idea what it is you're talking about.
Okay, so where are you going?
Well, I don't know now. Now you got me shaking. I'm like, what did I miss?
You're shaking, are you?
You should be.
Oh. I crossed it off on the list on accident because I assumed it was going to be taken. And now I'm looking at all the picks and I'm like, hey, wait a minute. It's only my favorite attraction of all time.
Yeah, no kidding.
Oh, dumb. My bad. Mansion. I'll take Mansion at number 5.
Oh, wow. I didn't think you were going to go there. And then for a moment, I actually didn't think you were going to go there.
That's why, because I crossed it off on accident. I try to keep track of everything we do, so I know what I can and can't pick, and I assumed you would take it, and then you didn't.
I should have just kept my mouth shut and let you take Autopia or something. No, you already took Space Mountain, so.
Well, no, I was going to take. I literally was going to take Tiki Room.
I should have let you take it.
But I'll take Mansion. I don't think any explanation is necessary there.
That's
I held
fair.
held on to it until the end because you took Pirates first.
Yeah,
and then totally forgot about it.
Yeah, way to go, Kelly. What do you think of the Haunted Mansion?
Well, it's my favorite attraction, and I have a shrine. And
son of a gun.
Well, I see the picture. I see the picture on your wall back there, which is.
So yeah, I actually in my bed. This is what I call it my Disney room. In my bedroom, I have like a shrine that needs to eventually like move its way over here. with like the blueprints and stuff. But like that's signed by Bob Gurr, and I have a couple other things signed by him. I do actually have a Matterhorn painting signed by him too. But I think Haunted Mansion is the most perfect ride ever created, which is why I love pirates. Don't get me wrong. But I have very strong opinions about this one attraction.
See, Eric,
my goal in life is to get. I know I should have went Tiki Room.
Yep.
If you went Tiki Room, that I automatically, just because because you didn't pick Haunted Mansion, I'd be like, sorry, dude, Eric, you're done.
You both lose on principle.
We both lose. Yeah.
It is my favorite attraction of all time as well. My goal in life is to get the 4 stretching room posters and put them on each wall in my bedroom. And then paint the walls accordingly.
My friend is a Disney collector, and he used to have some of the originals. He sold all of his collection, and and I was very sad. And I didn't know him when I went to go visit his collection, and have since gotten to know him. But in their house, they have like the murals, but with their faces, their family's faces in
that's awesome
place. And I think that's the coolest thing.
That's so great.
Ah.
No, Christian shaking his head. So
that's
always a good sign.
I thought for a second, I was like, he's thinking that somehow Haunted Mansion has IP that was original. I was like, boy, I'm really glad. I was like, oh, I'm glad I didn't take Haunted Mansion, because apparently there's IP in it if Eric's not taking it. Whew. Boy,
I can't believe I did that.
Yeah, well, you did. So there we go. Those are our lists. And before we have Erik rack them up and remind everybody what everybody has taken, Kelly, we are going to ask you a question that I think we know the answer to, but we ask it every time. Is there anything that wasn't on this list that should have been? Granted, we are looking at maybe 2 or 3 things, Autopia and a few Main Street vehicles. But what is there anything that you think should have been on this list instead of something we put on it?
So, I don't know. I think you guys did a great job. I do think Tiki Room belonged somewhere. I love Tiki Room. I think it's fun. It's got a lot of history. I loved it when I was a kid, so I think there's a nostalgic part there. But I really think that might be it in terms of.
You don't think Double Decker Bus beats Space Mountain at all?
Shocking.
Astro Orbiter.
I do.
Astro Orbiter.
Hey, I like Astro Orbiter. That can be a fun one. The carousel.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it's very magical when it's nighttime and you're taking it all in. But there's so much IP now that it really does limit what you can choose.
No.
So because even what you said, there were 3 in California Adventure. What are those 3?
So I think there's 5 actually. So Soarin' would be one. The red car trolleys, although I don't know if that counts as IP or not, because it's definitely based off of a company. Then you have Jumpin' Jellyfish, the Golden Zephyr, of course, and then Grizzly River Run. And I guess Redwood Creek, however you say it, Redwood Creek Challenge Trail is based off of whatever IP they can somehow fit in there to beg people to come over to it. So I guess that I don't know if that counts either. But that's why, and we talked about it before the show, before we started recording, everybody. Disney California Adventure just doesn't have it. Like it is, and I cannot wait for them to officially rename it Disney IP Land, because that's what it's going to end up being.
And I don't know if you could even consider Soarin' Over the World to not be IP, because it's all based on a lot of like Disney locations.
That's true. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, a bunch of fake things that they pretended they went and videoed, like the Taj Mahal. Anyway,
it used to be 7, right? Goofy Sky School used to be Mulholland Madness, which isn't IP, and then
Tower of Terror.
The Silly Symphony Swings also used to be the Orange Stinger, so that wasn't IP originally.
What about Tower? Tower is Tower?
No, that's
count as-
IP. Yeah.
Oh,
that's-
yeah, because
No, but-
Twilight Zone. Yeah, I'm
Twilight
thinking of-
Zone.
Oh, Twilight Zone, right? Because they
Yeah, yeah.
created the movie. But yeah,
Superstar limo. Oh my god.
that's one of my favorite topics.
Oh,
as
8.
well.
Then yeah, you're right. 8.
Oh my god.
Forget about that on purpose.
Okay.
I'm
Bountiful
real-
Valley Farm tractor equipment.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Regardless, Eric,
But
how
yeah,
about your
yeah, I think just Tiki.
just Tiki? All right. Eric, how about you run down the lists? Remind us what everybody took before Kelly officially steps into her giant guest judge shoes to officially judge this episode.
All right, Christian went first. He took Pirates of the Caribbean, Jungle Cruise at number 2, The Matterhorn at 3, Mark Twain Riverboat at number 4, and Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln at 5. For me, I had the second pick today, but I took Big Thunder Mountain Railroad number 1, Disneyland Railroad at number 2, Space Mountain at 3, It's a Small World at 4, and Haunted Mansion at 5. And we turn it over to Kelly, who won this episode of Drafting the Magic.
I was trying not to be biased because I knew whoever picked Haunted, I was going to want to choose them.
It's fair. I got it.
But you know what? I think the fact that you got Big Thunder and Space in there, I just have to give it to Eric. I'm so sorry, Christian.
It's
but
fine.
then
Let's go.
as you were saying it again, I was like, oh, but those were so good. But these were really great lists.
The top of my list was great, and then it started tailing off. That's what I heard.
I love Thunder in Space, and there have been times in past episodes where I feel like people don't value them as much because, it's just a thrill ride roller coaster. So I was scared a little bit for today, but I'm glad we have the same line of thought. It's about time somebody did. And I'm taking this dub.
Oh, whatever. Kelly, despite you choosing Eric, which I mean, let's be honest, he's probably got the right list anyway. Because, I mean, once he took Space Mountain, I'm like, what do I take? Autopia? No. Guess Lincoln's gonna be our final spot. Whatever. Regardless, despite you choosing him, you have been a fantastic guest judge. Before you leave us, tell everybody where they can find you, how they can follow you, everything about the podcast. Give us everything.
Find me everywhere. You can find me on Instagram at Washington Kelly, like how you would write your name in a standardized test. Got a lot of acting, got a lot of Disney. Slice of Disney on Instagram. You can follow Slice of Disney, the podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts, and on TikTok at It's Kelly Washington.
Well, there you go. Eric, I know she gave you the win, so you like her already, but heck of a guest judge today in Kelly.
Already
Yay,
did.
thank you.
She's on one of my favorite shows of all time. Already was a fan,
Well, there you
even
go.
before we started this draft, no matter what happened today. But I don't have to worry about that because I won. So we're good.
Yeah, and I'll just have to wait till next week to maybe try things again. Next week, next month, whenever we release another episode. Regardless, Kelly, thank you so much for joining
Thank you.
us. It's been a blast.
Thanks,
Anytime.
Kelly. Talk to you soon. Oh, that was a tough one today, Christian. I'll tell you. I when I was running down the lists for Kelly, I thought to myself, these are two pretty good lists. This one's going to be a tough judge, but with all that Haunted Mansion stuff, I know she said she's trying not to be biased, but it's hard not to be when Haunted Mansion is literally the greatest attraction ever built. So I get it, and I'm taking this dub as we approach the final few episodes here this season.
First off, not the best attraction ever built because you didn't even remember it. Secondly, regardless, you had a good list, and like I said, I thought mine super tailed off at the end because I think I left you. Now that I look back, right, taking Pirates in that first round leaves you a cookie at the end, even though you almost forgot about it.
Yeah.
Right. You taking Frontier in the beginning leaves me the Mark Twain, which is all well and good. We like.
I told you that my first pick was very strategic.
That is strategery at its finest. So
yeah, when I was putting the list together, and you only see 2 or 3 attractions per land, and some of them less. It's I got to go grab the premier one first before I can touch anything I really want, because I need to round this list out. So there was a lot of strategy behind today's selections for sure. I just had to bank on the fact that you were going to take Pirates, and it worked.
Take Space Mountain, leave me with Autopia at best in Tomorrowland. Oh man. Oh wait, could I have gone the monorail?
Yes.
I don't know. I don't like.
I don't know
attractions
that you're right. I don't
I
know
don't
that it
like
would have changed
attractions that
anything.
go out of theme parks. I don't like it.
Well, you took Pirates. Pirates technically
okay,
goes outside the
you know what I
boundaries.
meant. You know what I
But
meant.
okay. But I mean, taking monorail instead, I don't think would have swayed the voting. But you're right. It could have been on there.
If only Nemo was still just 20,000. Oh, wait, that's IP. Moving on. So we are now at the end of episode 38. And holy smokes, Eric, it has been a heck of a ride. You get another W here, solidifying your season 2 championship. Maybe when we get to this whole visual thing, we'll have some trophy. I think we should have a trophy.
I think we should too. And I was actually thinking about that the other night.
Oh boy, now we're gonna have to design a trophy. Regardless, folks, if you like this, whether you didn't like it or not, please go rate and review it. And if you didn't like it, just pretend you liked it when you're reviewing it. That'd be great. Thanks. Also, I committed to this, and so I'm going to do it. I said that I would read any reviews that we got since the last time. So I'm going to read a review that we got from one of our fantastic listeners. So let's get. I got to pull it up. Naturally, I didn't have it open. But let's give a shout out to this is Aquila9088 who reviewed this the day after we released our last episode. So Aquila, it's been a great month watching this review just sit in my DMs because we haven't recorded anything. But she or he said, "Great concept as a fantasy football and Disney parks nut. This is pretty much the perfect podcast for me. I like how your rules complement strategizing and make it more intriguing. My only beef so far is how on earth have you never watched any Indiana Jones movies?" But I digress. I love it. It's a great review. Give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. Go on Spotify, everywhere. Give us reviews like that, and we'll read them out loud. And Eric, have you seen any of the indie movies yet? Because I don't know if I have since we last talked about that.
No.
Yeah, we need to.
It's March, man. I've been focused on college basketball.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
College basketball, March Madness, all the fun starting up. It's a Disney show, but it's also a sports show, so let us talk about it. Regardless, rate and review. Like us wherever you can. Find us on social media, Instagram, Facebook, and the X, Drafting the Magic, or at Drafting Magic on X. And we will talk to y'all next time, hopefully in less than a month, Eric.
Yeah, that'd be nice. We do the best we can.
We'll see.